Back in 1993, there was a young girl here in town that disappeared on her way to school. For 11 years, nobody had any idea what had happened. It had become a cold case, and one day somebody stepped forward and confessed to killing her. And I was Googling something last night, and I don't remember what it was now. I think it was a documentary that I was looking for. I can't remember what it was. But in the search results, I saw a familiar name, and I clicked on it, and it was a story about this. This video has, or this case actually, this whole thing has a personal meaning to me. I'm gonna show a clip from the video, and then I'm gonna kind of explain, what's going on, how it's affecting me, and that. And here's a clip from the video.
On May 18th, 1993, Christine Heron of Hanover, Ontario, went to school and disappeared forever.
And then she left to go to school. She walked down the other side of the street and around the corner. And that was the last I seen of her.
It left a family desperate for answers and a community that never knew what happened. But Christine, or Chrissy as she was known, has never been forgotten.
She loved kids. Yeah, she loved her
Real
books.
bookworm.
Loved going for walks into creeks, catching frogs and what have you. I did know before the night was over she was dead, though.
11 years after Christine disappeared, and after extensive police investigations came up empty, a man who was never a suspect in the case, named Anthony Edward Ringle, according to documents from 2005, came forward and confessed to killing her. But the OPP made elementary mistakes in dealing with Ringle, and important evidence against him was deemed inadmissible by the judge. And in October 2006, the case was stayed against Ringle by the prosecution.
He was 90% sure Ringle was going to be convicted.
I've got more anger towards the OPP and the town cops than I do Ringle.
And a year later, after no new evidence was brought forward by police, Ringle was discharged. 4.5 years after that, in May 2012, the CBC broadcast a documentary about the Heron case, with Christine's mother and stepfather, outlining for the first time details including the botched police investigation and featuring the only public interview with Ringle about the case. Hi, how are you? Are you Anthony?
Yep.
I wanted to ask you about your confession regarding the murder of Christine Heron in August 2004. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Why you confessed to that murder? No?
I can't answer that question.
Then, last week, about 9 months after CBC's broadcast, Anthony Ringle was rearrested for the first-degree murder of Christine Heron, with police saying they now have fresh evidence in their possession. And the next day, Christine's mother and stepdad headed up to Walkerton, Ontario for a press conference called by the OPP.
We weren't sure what was going on, but it was quite a surprise. Good surprise.
Anthony Ringle has been charged again with the murder of my daughter, Chrissy Heron. I was notified last night by the detective. I asked what the new evidence was, and she couldn't tell me. She said she wasn't allowed to, and I asked then, did they find my daughter's body? And she said no, but they would be looking for her again.
It makes me feel good that I participated and had the documentary out there. I feel a lot of good's coming out of this now, and that hopefully this nightmare can finally come to an end.
Chrissy's family gathers at the Walkerton OPP station and heads in to the press conference.
I'm here today to announce that we have arrested and charged a person for the murder of Christine Heron. Last night, we arrested and charged 44-year-old Anthony Edward Ringel with first-degree murder. He will appear today in Walkerton Court to answer to the charge. There is no happy ending to this investigation for Mary Ann Russmer, Christine's mom.
I asked her why she couldn't say anything more than what she did. They're trying to be very careful this time that no evidence will get thrown out or nothing will happen and that they'll get a conviction.
Anthony Ringel's first appearance in court was short. Ringel appeared in a tracksuit, hair unwashed, staring straight ahead with a focused, serious gaze. A publication ban is put in place, and bail hearings via video are to follow. And then the family waits to see what will happen this time. Chrissy's Aunt Shirley.
I just hope that they have the evidence the right way this time. This is actually the only time they've ever had a conference about it. In the last 20 years, even when it happened, they've never had a police conference or whatever saying anything about what they're actually doing and what's happening. So I think they're actually taking it a little more serious now.
And Chrissy's brother Sean, who has never spoken to the media before today.
When I saw Anthony today, it brought back a lot of memories from years back and made me very angry and frustrated.
I'm Chrissy's cousin. I really never got to meet my cousin because of what's happened, and he just kept staring forward and looked like he had like a lot of shame.
The search for Christine's remains will now likely start up again, possibly close to this Hanover park, one of her favorite places. For The National, I'm David Ridgen in Hanover, Ontario.
I wasn't living here when this took place. I never moved up to this area until the beginning of 2000, I think February. And Hanover itself, I moved to here in 2006, beginning of 2006. So I wasn't aware of what had happened before I moved here. 2000 to 2001, I was working at Canadian Tire, and Anthony was working there at the time. He was an unloader, and he was a pretty cool guy. I liked working with him. He was pretty cool. And he didn't seem, any out of the ordinary than any other person. So, and Walmart came into town in 2001, late 2001. Actually, it was the day of 9/11 when I got hired at Walmart. And how I remember. So, anyways, I was working at Walmart. I was working nights, but on daytime, one of the cashiers that was working there was this girl's brother, Sean. And somebody that I was working with on the night shift, it's from Chesley, which isn't far from here, and she had said that this guy was at a party, he was drunk, and he's confessing to people that he had killed Christine. So at the time, I did see some news reports about it, but at the time they were calling him Tony. And Anthony, I knew as Anthony, and I never knew his last name, so I had no idea who Tony Ringel was. So after talking to Sean about it, I found out that he was her sister, and he was saying how Tony used to work at Canadian Tire, and all of a sudden it hit me. Tony is another name for Anthony, and all of a sudden I realized who it was. So it's kind of freaky for me, because I know people on both sides of the story. You know, we all know victims, and we all know people who have have committed a crime. It's very, to me, it's unusual to be on both sides of it. It's kind of freaky. So that was at the park one day. They took Anthony to where he said he buried her body, and that was one of the problems that they had, why the case was thrown out, because they didn't get permission. He didn't want to go. They didn't offer him, a lawyer and all this other stuff. They just kind of took him to this place, and none of it was recorded or anything, which is another breach of their, laws. But the day they went, I was actually at the park, and that was where you see the green gate in the video clip I just showed there. That's where I was parked, right by that gate. It's the far end of the park. It's quiet, it's peaceful, and it's private. So I used to go there. That was my place in the park. And I was sitting there one day, and all of a sudden, all of these police vehicles started coming in. It wasn't town police, it was OPP, and all these other vehicles, I had no idea what they were. They were unmarked vehicles, there were trucks, obviously, criminal investigation trucks and stuff, and it just freaked me out because all of a sudden I'm getting surrounded by all these people. So I asked one of the officers that just to kind of, confirm that they're not here for me. And I asked him, I says, am I going to be in your way here? He says, oh no, you're fine. So I wasn't comfortable. I had to leave anyways. But it really freaked me out, just suddenly being surrounded by police. So I didn't see Anthony at that time. I probably left before they took him out of the vehicle. But it's the whole thing. It's such a sad story. And this is 2017 now, and as far as I know, they still haven't found her body. So that's it's pretty sad. But I just kind of wanted to touch on that because I found this video, and I was looking for the documentary a few years ago when I found out it existed, and I can't find it anywhere. So if anybody knows where I can see this documentary, please let me know. I've got a link to the IMDb, which is Internet Movie Database. It's on there, but it just kind of describes what it is. That's about it. There's not a whole lot of information on it. It was published in 2012, May 18th, I think it was. I've been looking for it, so if anybody has any idea where I could find it, please let me know. So now I get into today's video with more flooding, heading out onto the highway. So I'm going to start this video where I left off in the last one. It's the same actual video clip, but different attitude today. A little bit chipper than I have been for a while, even though we got our first snow today. I don't like that word. This is October 26th now, and well, we've been pretty lucky. We've had really nice temperatures. We had a nice extended summer. It's the second time in my life that I remember getting a sunburn in September and not getting our first hint of snow. So we even made it almost all the way through October. But it's kind of, everything's really wet and cold out there right now. But I didn't actually see the snow myself. I slept through it, thankfully. So that kind of helps with the mood a little bit. But anyways, I left off here, heading out to the highway, because when the river floods, it's always, the fields down here are always full of water. With the river being higher than I've seen it, I had no idea what to expect when I get down here. and the fact that county truck there closing the road, it tells me that things aren't all that well. So at this point I can't see anything, and there's traffic coming through. Yeah, do not, I'll have to wait till I get there, because the highway goes down a bit, and it goes off to the right, and then it goes off to the left, and that's where the river crosses underneath it. And I might be crossing on top of it right now, but so when I won't be going quite that far. I can, if I wanted to, I probably would, but it turned out I don't have to, because it's actually, the water's a little closer than what I was expecting. So at this point, I was really expecting the field to the left to be flooded, and the barns, chicken barns, turkey barns, whatever they are, off to the right there, I was expecting water in there. But, kind of surprisingly, I don't see anything at this point. When I get to the first part of the river, there's the bridge up here. I believe that's the Beatty-Saugeen River. It crosses under at this particular spot. Yeah, I think that's the one that usually floods these two fields. So, I don't know for sure, because it's right there. You know. You can see behind the house here, to the right, from a distance, you can see the water back there. So it is coming up. And right where those trees are in there, that's the river's right in between there. So it's actually up a little bit on here. And the bridge, and there's a laneway, and that's usually what separates the fields. There's a little bit of water before the laneway, but not very much at this point. And of course, once I get past the laneway, there's the water. It's very calm, and it's very Lake Placid. it's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful scene. But it's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be field. I'm not sure what they put in this one. I don't recall ever seeing regular crops like corn or soybeans or wheat or anything. It might just be a hayfield on the left, but on the right I believe this year is corn, if I remember correctly. Oh gracious, it's such a beautiful scene, especially the sun setting behind me, and I'm in the shadows, and everything else is just kind of highlighted, and it makes it look all that much better. I was kind of wondering about that truck that just went by, the road being closed off. They actually let him through. It's not the only one that actually comes through. So I'm heading down the road here, and you see just basically where I'm driving, there's a little bit of a wet street there. So I'm seeing that, and the farther I go, the darker it gets, and the wider it gets. So obviously people are driving through water up ahead somewhere. So it's got my interest. I just want to keep on going. There's these houses off to the left here. Anytime this field floods, the houses flood. They always do. But this year it's a little higher than normal this year. Even that's a nice fucking scene. As bad as it is. You can see they're loading whatever they can into their vehicles, rescuing, valuable stuff. I'm not sure what. Just after the road off to the left here, there's another field. It's a little, I don't know what you'd call it. It's just a grass lot, and they store trailers and stuff in there. Well, they're scrambling to get the stuff out of there, and they're rescuing what they can. And I was, for a second, I thought about sticking the camera towards them, but I couldn't just give them their privacy. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I don't feel right about doing that. So I just kind of kept on going. It's a little different with the fields, because it's not. I don't know how to really put it. obviously it's affecting the farmers, and it's gonna affect them, emotionally for sure. But it's not. I don't even know how to put it. It's not their home. It's so much different when you see somebody having a problem with their home, than just seeing these flooded fields, because you're not seeing, the people part of it. You're only seeing water. You don't actually see what other people are going through. I stopped here for a second because you can see in the background the rows of corn. You can tell right away that the water's flooding the field there. I'm not sure how old that corn would be, but it's not very old. It hasn't. These fields haven't been here, haven't been planted that long. So this one spot there, you can actually see the separate rows. And it gives you an idea what the water's doing. This part here, I haven't gone this far out before in previous floods. The field to the right, I've seen it more than once being as high as it was, and back by the house is where I've seen that. But I've never been down this far. So the one off to the left here, I've never seen water in it. I'm not sure if there's water there now because of that. So the water's higher than normal right now, I'm not sure. At this point, the road's really, really wet. There's water along the side of it, and pylons here, so kind of. You can see now. This is where the water's over the road. And these poor houses here, and the water's surrounding them. Now, I come up here and I pull over on the side of the road, and I didn't intentionally slow down to show these people. No, I had to pull over because there's a truck coming. This is a highway after all. Vehicles coming by at highway speeds. But slowing down here, you can actually see just how much water is out there. Now, the river is not far from here. Just on the other side of where the water's going across the road, it kind of goes off to the right a little bit, and then starts to go to the left, and right where it starts to go to the left, that's where the bridge is, where this river is coming from. So that's. I never did get back out here afterward the next day to see how much higher it had got here. This is the same river that flooded the rail trail, and you can see it's like the field on the right's filling up. It's not at its peak yet, so I don't know how much worse it got, but there's still, you can see some of the crops on higher ground. So, I think it's funny when I stop here, the guy in the county truck coming by.
No. I'm crazy, but not that crazy.
In case you couldn't hear me, I said, "You're not going to drive through that, are you?" Well, like the monster, I probably could, but I got no reason to, so I'm not going to take the chance. Because, right here, it's not too bad, but, I don't know how much deeper it gets up ahead. Same with the other river. It's pointless to try driving through it, because I just don't know what's on the other side. But see, this is what I'm confused at. They got the road closed on both sides, and the transport trucks are still coming through. So I don't understand why they're letting them, but that's what's happening. But this really impresses me, this part here, when the truck comes through, the wake that it creates. A wake is a wake, but this one, it just kind of across the road, down through the ditch and out into the field. I think that is so cool. It just kind of continues on through all the obstacles. That's really neat. I like that. It was really sweet when I saw that. But it's just, there's so much water out there. Like the low parts of the field, they're still already pretty much saturated anyways. upper parts, you know, a little bit dried off, but yeah, it's kind of being taken care of now. You know, what I think's funny here, I'm talking to my roommate again, and telling her just how bad things are out here. And I said to her, I said, I believe this would be a 50-year flood. Yeah, and I was a little off. I had no idea it was actually a 100-year flood, but you know, it's still more than I've ever seen before. And what gets me here is when the vehicles go by, okay, people don't want to get wet. When they go by, they're creating two wakes. And I never really noticed that when I was down there. But, you know, watching the videos, making these, looking at them, I said, why is there two wakes coming off of that? Well, the water is flowing off from left to right. So when a vehicle goes through, it's got the normal wake that goes out, but the other one goes upstream, up into the water, and then it's forced back again. So every time a vehicle goes by, there's two waves going down into the field. And that's actually kind of neat. I'm not much for physics, but you know, it's kind of like if you're driving on the highway, and in Canada anyways, we drive on the right hand side of the road. So if the wind's coming from the left and it's really strong, you're actually turning the steering wheel into the wind, and a big transport truck comes by the other way, you get a sudden blast of air coming off of it, which, you know, just kind of jerks your car. And of course you were steering to the left anyways, but now it's cutting off the wind, so all of a sudden your car starts going left, so you steer back to the right. And as soon as that truck's gone and the wind comes back, it's magnified, and it's just, I don't even know how to explain it. It's a shockwave, and it just blows you off the road. I can't imagine, you know, driving in conditions like that on a motorcycle. So I'm kind of thinking, you know, with the cars driving through the water like this, is kind of the same thing, because they're forcing the water back upstream, and then they've got that little surge that comes back again. I guess the best way I can really describe how I'm thinking this is happening.
First thing is all of these plants, a lot of these fields
Yeah, some of these people coming through, they're being very cautious, they're driving slow. But I think it's just kind of funny. And there's one truck that comes through, him and his buddy going through full speed, and then the engine quits. And my neighbor had showed up after a little bit. I was standing there talking to her, and just come through. You know, it was just kind of funny. I remember years ago we got a lot of rain in the springtime, and there's one dirt road that I was driving on, and it wasn't a river or anything. It's just that the swamps had so much water in them that it just couldn't hold them, so it just flowed up onto the road, and I actually drove through it. I can't remember what kind of car I was driving at the time. Probably my Chevette. One of them anyways. So, but I just, you know, I think back to it now, and it's stupid. You know, I just wasn't thinking about it. The consequences of what happens if the road's washed out. Especially being a gravel road. You know, there's no hard surface, it's easy to wash away. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like the gravel up on the hill when I was heading down to the river. The water can be so, especially if it's fast moving, it can be so destructive. I just, you know, on a dirt road, this isn't so bad because the water's not deep. You can see the pavement. You know, it's a hard surface. You pretty much know it's okay. But on a dirt road, you just can't tell. It really wasn't the smartest thing to do, but So at this point I'm thinking, you know, I need to see the park. I haven't checked the other river yet. Let's see how much it's going up. Maybe by a neighbor. This guy's still working on a truck trying to get it started. Right, the sun's going down, and I really want to get to the park before it gets too dark. You know, I kind of, you know, this is one of those things that just, you know, I'll probably never see again, so I really don't want to leave here, but, you know, there's other places I need to check. And if this river's up, I'm not sure, you know, how the other one's going to be affected, because like I said before, most of the rain came from the south, and or fell to the south, and this water's coming from the south. So I'm not expecting the main Soggy River to be up. As high, maybe it will be some, but I'm not expecting it to be super flooding like this, or like it was back in 2014. So here's another example, of a car on the right here, and I'm thinking, you know, they got their phone pointed out doing video. I was gonna, you know, stop so I didn't get in their shot, but I don't know if they're just looking at it, if they're talking on their phone or what. They didn't have a camera pointed out. There goes the pickup. We got it running. But that's another thing. I just, you know, if they were sticking their phone out the window, getting video, I would have waited until they're finished, or until they waved me through, one or the other. It's like this. I don't, unless they're intentionally, you know, recording me, then I'll do, you know, my best to stay out of their shot. But you can see, you know, like newly planted field here to the left too. You see the individual rows and water in them. And it looks pretty sweet with the sun. Setting sun there. So I'm gonna skip ahead. Head down to the park. Kind of a long drive. It shows it's high speed, it's really bouncy. And if I put image stabilization on it, it just makes it even look even worse. So, I'm just going to skip ahead. When I first get to the park, I'm looking at, yeah, there's some water down there, but it's not all that high. I didn't expect it to be anyways, so I'm not really disappointed or anything, but I just figured it would be a little bit more. You know, up on the left, it's flooded pretty good over there too. So I'm thinking, okay, there's not a whole lot to see here, but... And I get down here. Yeah, because, oh, that is so sweet. The water is actually filling the park at this very moment. This is the first time I have ever been here when the water was entering. I had no idea how the park filled up. I was assuming the river came from where the bridge is, the other side of the park, and like upstream part of it. But no, this is actually, it goes around the park first, and then as it's leaving, that's where the water's coming in. And it is really neat. And I don't know if you heard what that kid just said. He says, why is it doing that? I'll show you what he was talking about. And once he leaves, then I come back, I get a little better shot. And I'll show you exactly what he was saying. It's actually something kind of neat. He's doing a panoramic view. Using the same music I used in my special because it went so well with this scene. Okay, the kids are leaving, so I'll go back. Unfortunately, they went out onto the playground equipment. I wanted to drive out there, but I didn't get a chance to. Now, if you look to the very far right of the screen, you can see this like water bubbling up from the ground. That's what he was asking about. And what that is a drain that drains the park when it's flooded. And out in the river, we got that concrete pillar with the holes on it that I use to gauge the water height. And I'm talking about that pipe that goes out into the river. That's the drain from the park. So right now the water is higher than the park level, so it's actually coming in that pipe instead of going out. It's kind of neat. It's bubbling up there pretty good. But this is just so neat. Like, the water is so clear. It looks like it's just a normal flow. This one thing, as I said before about this river, is like, when it does flood, it's rarely dirty. It's always calm. It's never like raging waters or anything. It's always calm, and it's always clear, almost always. It's such a nice thing to look at. It's really neat. But it's just, like I say, I come down here before the park's flooded. I come down after the park's flooded. I've never been here while it was flooding. So I was quite impressed. I didn't plan this, but as I was leaving, I decided to go down into the park, get a closer look at the water. Like I said, this is something I've never seen before, so it's kind of neat. I'm not really too worried about being down here. My old scooter, ES 950, I wouldn't be able to do this with it. I can drive across grass with it, but it's not comfortable. The wheelie bars tend to grab the ground and that, and this water, it wouldn't go through it very well. But I'm amazed at how fast the water's moving across the ground here. With the Monster, it doesn't matter. Like, I know I have an alternate exit, because the water's really close to where I'm going through here. I don't have a whole lot of room, but I know just to the right of those trees there, I know there's a laneway that goes up, so I'm not really too worried about getting stranded down here. I wasn't really sure how far I was going to go, so like I say, I didn't plan on coming down here, but just every time I got in farther, I wanted to go farther, I just wanted to see what it looked like from the other side. It's so impressive to me, and the park is filling up so quickly. It's kind of surprising just seeing it. So I'm thinking when the water started coming in, I don't think it was that long ago that it started. So it was like perfect timing for when I got here. I was really, really impressed. At this point, the only real danger that I'm in is if the river behind me decides to spill its bank. Like I said, when the park filled up, I thought it came from that direction. Where it's coming in is like directly ahead of me, but the river is actually to the right and behind me. And I'll show you here on the map. There's the bridge, the river's right here, and I'm right about here. So, if the river decides it's going to suddenly start coming in at that end, then it'd be in a bit of trouble. And I never really considered that at first. But once I got to this part, I started thinking about that, and I'm thinking, I shouldn't be here. So I started heading back the other direction. And if I needed to, I could drive through some of this water, along the edges where it's not too deep. So I wasn't really too concerned about it. But, I didn't want to push my luck on being here too long. The river at this point is just to the left over there. And then I come back out here and see. Okay, where I came in is now underwater, so I gotta take the alternate route, and I knew it was there, so I'm really not too worried about it. It's one of those things I'll probably never see again. You know, the timing was perfect. It would have been nice if it was a little bit brighter, because the aperture of the camera is wide open right now, so everything's kind of blurry with the bumps. It's actually darker than it looks. And I got my lights on, and you see when I go by the trees here, you actually see the light reflecting off of them. So, time to end the video here, and the next one I'll show the next morning the results of the water going up. And like I said, this is just the beginning. It's still going up. It won't peak till sometime overnight. So I will come back and see what kind of damage it's done.